what's up, everybody? It's the liberal loudmouth. So today's video is a lot different. It's not as political necessarily, but if you're like me, you like to read the bills and follow along with the legislative process to see what representatives are passing what or putting forward what and what is not even coming into, a committee and getting a vote either on the floor or in the committee. But these bills are sometimes very long and it's very difficult to read them all quickly or quickly enough so that you can get through a good portion of them. So I have a way that you can use AI and chat GPT to do this quickly. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So you can see here, I've already found a bill. I just really picked one at random. It's about voting, whatever. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm going to go through the process of downloading it so I can show you. Okay, so this is Oklahoma, and I'm using this as an example because this is my home state. So here I'll go to the versions. I'll go to what's introduced. We'll open it as a PDF, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save it. So save the PDF. So as you can see here, I've got the PDF that I just downloaded, but I'm not going to open it as a PDF. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my PDF here that I just downloaded, and I'm not going to open the PDF. I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit open with, and then if it says Microsoft Word for you, you'll choose that. Otherwise, hit choose another app, and you're going to open it with Microsoft Word. Okay, so when you convert a file from Adobe PDF into Microsoft Word, it doesn't always transfer properly. The conversion kind of screws things up. And if you notice here on the left side, you see how the numbers are kind of jumbled? That's pretty normal. And for what we need it for, how we're going to use it, it's not a big deal. But what you're going to do, you're going to need to go up here. If you see this yellow bar, you're going to have to hit enable editing. Okay, so now we're in editing mode, which means I could go in here and type something if I wanted to, but I don't want to touch it. I want to leave it as is. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to go to File, and then we're going to go to Save As, and then you'll pick the location that you want to save it as. In this case, I'm going to save it in the same folder that I downloaded the PDF in. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now let's go back to the folder that we had downloaded that PDF for before. Okay, so here I'm back in that, and I confirmed that I have a Microsoft Word document of SB 1700 INT, right? It's the same wording, same file, all that stuff. Now here's where ChatGPT comes in handy. So let's go to ChatGPT and see how that works. Okay, so now I am in ChatGPT. Now, if you notice, you have to be up here, you have to be in ChatGPT 4, which means you will have to have a subscription to ChatGPT. So if you do have a subscription, then this will work. If you don't, then it's not going to work. So you have to click this paperclip icon and choose the folder where you saved that document, and then click Open. And it's going to upload that document. Now, alongside the document, what I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do, I'm going to say, please analyze, summarize, and explain this bill to me in layman's terms. I mean, you don't necessarily have to say those exact words, but ChatGPT will then go in and literally read the document, and it will be able to sit there and have a conversation with you about what it read in that document. And since ChatGPT is a hell of a lot smarter than most people, this is a really good way to get through these bills quickly without any issues. So let's go ahead and send that message. And there it is, writing it up. The bill, SB 1700, aims to update the rules around keeping voter information confidential in Oklahoma. It expands the list of individuals who can request their residence and mailing address to be kept private, to include certain professionals like journalists and members of the judiciary, among others. The bill also specifies conditions under which this confidential information might be released. such as under a court order or as part of election-related proceedings. It is set to take effect on November 1st, 2024. So let's ask more specific information. How does this bill change existing law? Okay, so it says that it expands the categories of individuals who can request their voter information be kept confidential, including new groups like journalists and members of the judiciary, etc., etc. Now, we can ask it specific things. What page can I find statements that will show me the list of new voter types? And see that. Look at that. You can find the list of new voter types eligible for confidential voter status on page 2 of the bill. Now, let's go back and look at the bill and see how accurate that was. So page 2, be it enacted by the people of the state of Oklahoma, mandatory is amended to read as follows. The Secretary of State Election Board is authorized to promulgate rules to keep confidential the residence and mailing address upon application to do so of 19 individual registered voters who are members of certain classes as described in paragraph 2 of the subsection. Now, that wasn't entirely accurate because the question that I asked ChatGPT was, where can I find the list? And it said page 2, when in fact it was page 3. So let's go back and see if we can get ChatGPT to clarify why it got the page number wrong. So now I'm just going to type in and we'll see what it says in response. I just looked on page 2 and can't find a list of all the new groups. And then add a couple of question marks. ChatGPT is pretty good at knowing what you mean with those little things that you do. Like that, the 2 question marks. I think it'll understand that. And notice it went back and read the document again. My apologies for the oversight. The list of new groups eligible for confidential voter status can actually be found on page 1 of the bill. That's interesting. But details the expanded categories of individuals, including... Okay, so now I'm going to ask it to quote. Can you quote to me what the bill says about what I just asked? Because it's incorrect again. It wasn't page 1. Okay, here you go. Confidential voters shall include the following: law enforcement officers, as defined by Section 99. Okay, so district attorneys, judges, and justices, members of the legislature. Okay, so what they're trying to do is, and this bill is actually, I mean, on one hand, I agree with what it's saying. But on the other hand, I don't like the fact that they're trying to say, well, we're better than y'all, so our shit is private and yours can't be. That because everybody's voter information is online, and it honestly shouldn't be. But you can find people's addresses looking up voter information. So this is trying to say if you're law enforcement, district attorney, et cetera, your address information has to be held private, but it doesn't say anything about the rest of us, which, I mean, come on. I think everybody, if they're going to make anybody's stuff private, they should make everybody's stuff private. I don't see why not. Either way, you can ask it more things. Is there any other things that this bill changes? Of course, I should have said, are there any other things? Okay, besides expanding the list of individuals eligible for confidential voter status, the bill also provides detailed definitions for terms such as immediate family of law enforcement personnel and journalists. It specifies. Okay, now let me ask it, does it explain why the only people that deserve private information are those kinds of people? Why wouldn't it just make them all private? Meaning all private citizens. The bill doesn't explicitly state the reasons behind limiting confidential voter status to specific groups. However, these decisions often stem from perceived increased risk these individuals might face due to their public roles or the nature of their work, which could expose them to threats or harassment. Making all voter information private for every citizen would significantly change the transparency and public nature of voter rolls, which are often used for election integrity research and other legitimate purposes. Balancing privacy with transparency and the operational needs of the electoral system is likely a factor in these decisions. Now, granted, and I agree with what I just said, but let's think about it this way. While the public facing portion of that is going to be private, so, some person can't just go on there, look at the voter roll, and get your address, right? But the electoral commissions would still have access to that information, obviously, because you have to fill it out when you enroll. Okay, so there you go. This is something that I've been using because reading these bills is like watching grass grow a lot of the times. And whenever you have bills that amend statutes, right, you'll have certain parts that are underlined, and then the stuff that gets removed is going to have a strike through. And you can tell Chat GPT, hey, the strike throughs are things that are removed, the underlined words are things that are going to be changed, and then have it tell you exactly what those changes are, and how it affects the law that's currently into place. This is a way to get through a lot of bills. If you're just, you get one that's like 600 pages long or whatever, you can upload it there to Chat GPT, and it should be able to parse through it all. Although there is a token cap, so there probably is a cap on the number of pages that it's able to read. I haven't ever reached that cap yet, but I know that there exists one. And I think I pay $20 a month, I think, for Chat GPT. Really, for things like this, it's very useful. You can do the same thing with a news article, for example. So if you copy the news article, you put it in a Word document, or you can just paste it into Chat GPT itself and say, hey, please summarize this into a couple of paragraphs, and it'll do a really, really good job of summarizing that information. So I think this is a good way for even legislators who need to read a bill. They can use Chat GPT to go through there and see if they want to actually vote on it or not. So this, this video should also pander to every legislator out there who doesn't have time to sit there and read every single bill, and instead of relying on an aide who may be biased or whatever, you can put it in there yourself and actually take a look at what it does. So I hope this helps somebody out there be a little more efficient with what they do. But this is the power of AI that we can utilize moving forward. Now, a lot of people are going to be using ChatGPT to write entire articles and just posting them as is. But let me tell you, the articles that ChatGPT posts, they all sound pretty much the same. They use cliche verbiage. I mean, there are ways you can try to tweak it, but really it sounds like crap. So please, if you use this, use it as reference material. Don't just use it and then paste it everywhere, because then the internet becomes inundated with a bunch of crap that nobody really wants to read. So, do your own work. Please keep writing your own stuff, at least for now, because the AI still has some evolution to do before it's going to replace everybody, in the world. Anyway, I hope this helped you. And maybe if I come across something else that I find very useful with ChatGPT, I'll post about it again. But that's it for now, guys, and we'll catch you next time. This is the Liberal Loudmouth. Peace.